If you have an older Mercedes-Benz with a sunroof, I want to show you something that you really need to pay attention to. And that's those forward drain areas on each forward corner of the sunroof opening. I want to show you what this looks like on this 1976 240D. You know, if you look in the channel over here, it doesn't look too bad. You're starting to see a little bit of discoloration, but a lot of times you'll see a lot of rust in this area right here. But I want you to take a really close look at this forward drain area. And you can see the rust that's starting to form right around that hole. That pipe is welded to the inner sunroof panel, and that rusts very readily, and if you're not careful, that can rust completely through, and I've seen this a number of times. And when that pipe rusts out, you'll have water running right into the forward cabin. So the only way to fix this is to use Miracle Paint. We're going to clean this up now with brushes and Scotch-Brite pads, try to get it really clean in here. We're also going to put a little Miracle Paint right down through this channel, right on that edge. See, it can also rust and create problems with water getting into the cabin. So this is something you want to watch, and it's a real easy repair, something you can do yourself, and we'll show you right now how we're going to fix this so it will not cause problems in the future. When you're dealing with an area like this on that corner of the sunroof that has limited access, you're going to have to get creative. You may need to get a popsicle stick and some sandpaper, some belt type sandpaper that you can tear little pieces to get down in that hole like that. You may also need to get some special brushes. Sometimes a round brush works well, and the Scotch-Brite pad works real well to clean up the areas that just have real minor surface rust. So we're going to begin here by getting this rough 80 grit belt sandpaper on the end of a popsicle stick, and we're going to go right in that area and clean the rust off that weld joint right around the outside of that hole. Remember, when you're using Miracle Paint, you don't have to get all the rust off, but you have to get all the loose rust removed, any flaky rust. You also want to get it roughed up in the surrounding area so you get a real good bond. So you can see you can actually do this without removing the front sunroof seal. We're going to continue to clean this, and we'll eventually use compressed air and brake cleaner to get it completely cleaned off before we apply the Miracle Paint. And for that seam that's starting to show a little bit of rust, I'm going to use a wire brush, a steel wire brush, and we're going to go in there and clean that edge right where the inner panel attaches to the roof. Real important we get that cleaned out. We're going to apply Miracle Paint in this entire channel when we're done. Then for the flat areas down in that channel that are hardly rusty at all, I'm going to use a Scotch-Brite pad. This is about a medium grit. And we're going to come in here and rough this whole area up with Scotch-Brite. Remember, when you're applying Miracle Paint, you must rough up the surface or it won't stick. And the minimum would be using Scotch-Brite. I don't want to use heavy sandpaper here. It's going to make extra scratches that are not necessary. But now we've got this all cleaned up. We'll come in here with a vacuum and get it cleaned out, and then we're going to go ahead and wipe it down with brake cleaner. And if you don't have brake cleaner, a lacquer thinner also works real well. I can't stress enough how important it is to clean the surface, and you're going to see why. You'd be amazed at how much rust is going to come out of this cleaned area, even after vacuuming it. So we're going to wipe that whole channel down. And, you know, look at that. See that? That's just one application. Now, I want to show you how we're going to get down in that hole to clean it. We're going to use one of my lint-free swabs to get down in the hole and clean all the way down into the pipe. We'll also be using that swab to apply Miracle Paint down in there, so it's real important. And we'll finish this up by using compressed air to blow out the entire area. Now you can see we're using the acid brush to coat that area up around the hole, back up underneath that sunroof seal. And then we're going to really work on that seam as we come down the side there. You can see I've already started putting Miracle Paint in there. We're going to probably do that twice, go over it twice for the initial application to really make sure it soaks into that seam. There's a little bit of a gasket there, so you really want that to soak up. And we'll just continue to use this little acid brush to get in all those real tight areas and make sure we have a good heavy coat of Miracle Paint. Now, we only sell the heavy duty Miracle Paint, which is real thick, and that's one of the reasons in most applications like this, one coat is enough. Now we're going to finish up with a 1-inch brush. We can use that brush to get the big surfaces. You could use the acid brush to apply it in this entire area, but a lot of times this kind of pointed 1-inch brush helps to get down underneath that chrome track and also cover the entire well area there in a minimal amount of time. Once again, don't overbrush it, put it on real thick and lay it out flat. It'll tend to continue to move as it dries off. So what we've done here is we have literally prevented this sunroof from rusting out any time in the future. If you want to know more information about the Miracle Paint products on my website, just click on the Show More below this video. Now in closing, I just want to share with you a little tip. This I've learned from experience. When you're working the sunroof area with Miracle Paint, be sure to cover your seats and carpets underneath the sunroof opening, because if you drip Miracle Paint down in there, you'll probably never get it off your upholstery.